Good evening, the time is 6:08 and I'll call this meeting to order. I'd like to start with the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the December 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. I'd like to thank you, Rayanne, for doing these.
I will move to approve my own minutes.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Carries. Pass. All right, any public comment? Okay, moving on, budget discussion. Where would you guys like to start? I see Chris has done some homework and we have also received some info from the admin where they're at with their budget cuts.
So. With the info from the admin. They cut 1.3, right, from their budget. So. We should absolutely go over whatever, like, everything that we have here, but I think that I was surprised. I was very surprised to get that number, like happily surprised, but I was surprised to get that. So. I really feel like we did our job and that we said, hey, we looked at the budget and we said, this is not okay. And we came up with the number and then they went back and they went and they looked and they really looked. And they're at 1.3. So we asked for 1.5. They're at 1.3. And they're telling us they can run the district with 1.3 million less than what they asked for. And the numbers, right, there was a 3% increase and now there's a 5% decrease, which means there's an 8% loss. So, or reduction.
Yeah.
I don't want to say loss. So I think that's that we absolutely as a committee did what we were what we were elected to do. So that's my 2 cents that no one actually formally asked for, but there it is.
Anybody else got anything they want to weigh in on this?
How did they get there?
In the email, I was trying to figure out, Kyle, I forgot how to share.
Could we put up that email?
Thank you, Kyle.
Is that possible?
Kyle's doing it for me right now. You're awesome, Kyle, thank you. So that's the synopsis of how they got to the 1.3. Looks like they took some out of method 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the other areas of the budgets.
There was another email that had the tax rates and everything on it. Is also from Lori, I guess, or from Misty, I guess.
Was that in the same email or a different one, Steve?
It might have been a different one. It showed the bottom line to every, there it is. Yeah, that one, yeah. Okay, that tells us what the bottom line is. It went down. Yeah,
Can you make that a little bit bigger?
there we go.
Look,
Yeah.
even better.
Has the school board looked at this at all?
No,
No,
not till Monday, maybe.
Monday,
And then we meet again on Wednesday.
Hopefully we can. Wonderful. So Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Amanda, where did you have a 5% decrease?
In one of the emails. Now I can't remember, but I remember seeing a 5% loss, and so that's from the original, so. I'll have to see if I can find it, and I could have read something wrong, obviously. But I thought, because I thought it was on this sheet, so. I don't know, let me look to see if I can find it again. Good question.
Is there other documents you guys want on the screen?
So district costs, what happened to district costs? So district source came down. Technology, what happened in technology? That went down.
It did, it was pretty
That went down
significant.
by 50%. What else? And the schools all went down, we knew that going on. Something happened in Charlestown, right?
Like compositions.
Yeah, Charlestown at one point was higher, right? One of the schools went up and the other one went down, I guess, something like that. And then the high school took the biggest chunk, right? They had a 6.9% increase, 7% increase that went down to 1.2%. And I guess that's the sheet that was given out. So somebody, this sheet that, did you get this sheet down?
No, that's
No.
Chris's.
Chris's, oh, that's Chris's.
It's-
Well, this is not,
So to answer your question, Melissa, I think I misspoke on my math. So if we look at not this, we'll have to go back to it, but the other sheet that we were looking at before, it's a 1.5% decrease, 1.53% decrease from 26 to 27.
Mhm.
And then they had asked for a 3% increase. So if
So you put it together, so
So I
it's
put it
5
together
total.
for 5
started.
total, and then for whatever reason, I added another 3. So,
It's good either
that's,
way.
right, it is, like. I never said I was a mathematician, right? So,
well. The number's okay, in my mind, the bottom number, how they got there, I guess it's up to them, up to the school board to decide, but,
I don't even know exactly what these,
you know.
obviously, we don't know where the FTEs are coming from yet. I only know which.
Let me back, they had a little note.
Well, I know that, like there's 5 from the high school and 3 from Browstown, but I don't know what programs those.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, they just have this right here.
Could you enlarge that a little bit?
And
So you just go down. So that's out there and look at it.
I don't think.
yeah, technically incompetent, Department Stevens.
No, it's okay. It's 5, 6. So it looks like what, 7? 7, 8, 9, 14 people? Is that right? That'd be right, yeah.
Yeah,
This is good big, right?
yeah, 14 positions, and that's what it says there on bullet 1 as well.
the method 3 one is different from when I met for them, so that's interesting.
I don't remember what's in it, it's in what.
Readings, buildings.
Yeah, well, the bottom line number looks okay to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
How
echo,
they get there, I don't know. I don't know if I would agree or disagree without seeing the details, but. I think the bottom line represents a reasonable budget.
I'll echo Amanda's statement of. They did a lot of work
Yeah,
in short, or like. Is it the whole number? No, but they did 90% of it without a bunch of back and forth, and no, we can't do it, so. I mean, would 1.5 be cooler? In my world, yes, but this is a big achievement.
I do believe this is in addition to cutting the superintendent position and the
CTE director.
CTE director.
Well, then that would throw them
And we're
over,
what you've asked.
which is cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the superintendent wasn't in, oh, because you guys did that at your board meeting before they did this. It's coming back to me. Oh, anything else on any of this, or do we wanna move on to what Chris has prepared for us?
Just waiting on a printout.
Oh,
Document.
So that,
This is not ideal, but.
oh, no, it's good enough. It will work. Oh,
Yes,
fine.
this is the top half, that block is this block. so-
Yep, there it's fantastic. All right,
Are these the same? No.
They overlap.
they overlap because,
I see.
yeah,
You fetched.
Thanks.
oh, I didn't bring the glasses, I don't have.
that's all right.
One more. Why did you?
You.
They were bound to drive when I got there. So that was good. I.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that ice storm is brutal.
Thank you.
Was. I was just not in the vacuum. I was like, oh.
Yes, okay. Hanging. Did everybody get one?
Yes,
As small as it is?
perfect. Saving paper.
Oh. Oh, I know what those things are. Almost bought one myself.
That's like old school.
Yeah, this is how the famous artists cheated. Back in the 16, 17, yeah, of the, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh, this is so weird.
It's just
Oh.
not translucent,
Right.
right? That's because it used to have to be. Translucent.
Oh, you think I paid attention during that part? Oh, Chris, do you wanna start with this one, or,
Well, they go hand in hand, so,
well, as far as what's on
yeah,
Screen.
let's just start with, this one is the overall sheet, and then this one is basically how I got there. So. So if you start with, this one, basically you can say that last meeting I was rambling off a lot of stuff, and we hadn't had a meeting before that so that we could all come to a collective understanding, but we've known some of these, parameters and these inputs that we have to have in order to put a budget together. I would think that they're doing the same thing. So we know class offerings, at a minimum at the state, they have to be 43. We provide 100 a semester. So, and that's the other thing, there is a bit of a clarification that needs to be happened, that I'll explain, that I didn't say in that meeting. That we're in the block schedule, which is 2 semesters, therefore we have 200 offerings. Under a traditional schedule, there would be 100 offerings. Because everything's doubled, it would, when you're going to a block schedule. But the class sizes, we know, state requirements 30 or less. Credits, now there's a change coming that I'm hoping they're preparing for, that in 25, 26, all those kids currently in class, it's 20 credits to get out of high school here, and it's 14 core, 6 open, they can choose what they want. And then the same thing, but the new class coming in, that changes 20 credits. It will be 16 core, so it's going up an additional 2 credits. And then it's reduction in what they can select, open. So that's a little bit of a difference in curriculum, how that plays in terms of the cost and how the setup is gonna be. I think it would benefit more of a traditional schedule, but I haven't put one of those together. I tried starting and I said, no, it's Christmas time and I got things to do.
What is, sorry,
Yeah.
what's the 306-2714?
Though, I'm sorry, those are citations. Those are the root laws that are being cited. They're all in 600. So if I get one of the 0.27s or 0.14 wrong, I apologize.
The DOE, they're DOE doing? Yeah, the RSA.
Deal.
No, the DOE, okay.
Yep.
Yes.
It's the minimum standards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if we go down over to the left, these are the subjects that are currently being offered. These are the current number of teachers we have on staff at Fall Mountain. This all comes off of that spreadsheet they provided us, the staffing spreadsheet for one semester. Here are our current offerings per class. And then over to the right, these are the reductions I made assumptions at this point. And this is what the bottom line for Fall Mountain, in my opinion, because I haven't coordinated with you folks. That's what it comes at. And please note that it's an average reduction, because if you take this sheet and you look, it's math, you'll see all the teachers' names. As you move forward, you'll see the offerings that are provided. You'll see how the kids line up in the 4-set block schedule. You'll see the total students that each of these teachers have. Then you see what their salary and benefits are cost the district. So for math, it costs the district $441,000 for math in our district. The average cost per teacher is 110. So that's why you would see 110. I'm not sure how they would do it, but I had to take an average. I could have taken the lowest one, but maybe that person's the highest on the totem pole. I'm not sure how that would work. So there's an average reduction. That's what that is. And then you can see to the right, the cost per student to educate them in math is $2,500 for this one semester. And then what is important is if you drop down to the next block, you'll see block versus traditional. Average student sizes. This is what we're shooting for. If you have, this is why there should be a reduction. The average number of teachers, currently we have 4. A block is 14.4 students. Traditional. In the traditional schedule, you'd have 7.21. And so on and so forth. So you get down to 3, you have 19. If we got down to 2 teachers, we still would be at 28. We'd be below the 30. And in a traditional schedule, we'd be at 14 if we were down at 2. So what is the bottom for me is reduction of costs is class offerings. We're nowhere at 100. There has to be some discussion between the board and the administration of what's reasonable. I don't know. What is reasonable offerings? And then if you go down below, you'll see what I did so that anybody wanted to pick up in the smaller charts. Block schedule is the first chart. Number of teachers utilize blocks because all teachers get one prep block. So that's where we're going with. In some of these that I did every one of these. Some teachers actually do teach 4 blocks, 2 of them. One of them has, French 4 has 1 student in there per 4th block or first block, I forgot what it is. So, and then there is one other one, I think Bruce Ferlin Ag also does 4 blocks. So all, be that as it may, they are allowed prep time. And I told you what the prep time equation is up above that. So student capacity, what I'm just doing there is running any data set. It would take in block 360 students to be at capacity. We currently have 173. That's how many students we have in math. We are underutilizing math class by 187 students. Max students, teachers per day, should it be at 90? They're currently at 43. Students per day, they're underutilized by 46 individually. So the student class size we're shooting for is 30. The current average class is 14.4. Student class size usage, we're at a negative 15. And the class offerings are 12. That's 12 this semester, 12 next semester, which then would equal 24 if you went down to the traditional schedule, utilizing the same 4 teachers. So if you skip down to traditional schedule, you'll see everything jumps up in double. 720 students for capacity, so on and so forth. And that will get you across. Now, then you begin to see what the average cost reductions are in the following columns. These are all excluding expenses. I didn't have enough time to track how much math expense there was. It's not as much as the tech expenses. So, and you can follow over. So if you reduce, the prime example is even in block scheduling, if you go down to 3, you still have under 20 as an average in block scheduling. And they would have 9 courses in that. And if you looked at math, you'll see there's a lot of overlap. There's room. Algebra 1's taught by a couple of different teachers and so forth. So, and you can look at one student has 8, and then the second block has 8, one has 9, one has 9. So I'm just trying to show that it's all in the math, how there needs to be some thought about reducing staff. And if you went to a traditional schedule, if you went all the way down to 2, if you looked at this, that's probably magic. That will give you 12 offerings for the year. And that would reduce our average cost about $220,000 a year. And I even give you what the average cost of the student drops down to $1,200 per student, and so on and so forth. So it's in the numbers. There definitely needs to be a look at traditional versus block scheduling. And I think at least at this point, if we're not to push them in a corner, if you go to this, from this, this is what I think easily, I didn't take out PE and health because that's split. Foreign languages. And I can tell you the numbers on foreign languages, but really it's, well, I have my own personal opinion after going through college why foreign languages are necessary, but I know it's all about globalization. But here's sorry. They have 81 students in the program. The cost for French and Spanish is almost $171,500 for those 2 programs jointly. 17, 18, and 4 are their class sizes. The French teacher has 1, 16, 10, and 15. So however you, 39 and 42. I'm not making a decision on whether they should get rid of French or Spanish. I didn't do that. I left that open. ESL, that's the English second. It is required, but we can cost share with other districts. I'm just wondering if they thought about that cost sharing. If we have a low number of students, we can cost share with another district. I pointed out here because I'm not sure where their reductions are coming from. We can't, live in do this in a vacuum. Guitar is $70,000 a year, and we have 17 students in the program. One block has 5 and one has 12. Not so sure that program is something we want to continue, but I put it in here. Its average cost because it is with music and also art or ceramics. And then finally, the one is ROTC. has also, I researched, the other day. The government, and I'll try to get this right, does pay 50% of a teacher's salary, the DoD. But they don't pay benefits and expenses, but they pay for the kids' uniforms and things like that thing. However, with 34 students in the program, and you're having classes of 5, 5, and 10, 4, and 3, and 7, they can reduce one educator. They have 2 instructors in that program at $220,000 a year. I didn't get in and take out what the half of a salaries would be at this point, because I just found that out answer today, because I just wanted to double check what was coming in on the revenue side, so to speak, to offset. Well, it's not enough of an offset. I would consider that to a position of reduction. If we get down in the, as you can see in administration, here's my total, 641,000. If you get down into administration, these are positions that I have put for us to talk about, whether or not you agree. That's why we're here. Assistant HR. We're a shrinking population. We hadn't had one before, and we're continuing to reduce in staff. What's the viability of that? Rec therapy, you'll see the cost there. I don't know how many, it's not required in the state. Not sure why we currently have it. I'm sure there was a logical reason for it, but it's not required. And I'm not sure how many students are in the program. I've mentioned this and I'll say it. It's time for a restructuring. I'm looking at the numbers. We have a plumber and an electrician. It's not cost effective to have staff members, those staff members. It's not cost effective. They have vans, they have fuel, we have liability on the vans, we have insurance on the vans, we have maintenance, repairs, they carry tools, they carry supplies. It's not cost effective. They cost $230,000 a year at both the Venlo and staff. Do the math. We did, sort of did it the other day. It's about 2,000 hours worth of contracting work. And if we have big enough contracting work, they call up the plumbers in anyway. So we need to reduce that. I did put on landscaping, and quite frankly, I think every school should have a line item for mowing and get away from the regional mower. And I also put here, as I started to do the numbers, financial assistant. We have 2 that work with a gentleman named Scott, who I'm not familiar with. I didn't know who he was till recently. I just think we have a big financial assistant. It's big. I'm not sure why we have it. Secondly, trans and facility secretaries. That should be combined.
Transportation.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Transportation. It would be logical. They're in the same building, or we should have one secretary running both. They're not, it's not, I wouldn't, it was something I would look at. Student services. This is an ISS individual, from what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong. In school suspension. We currently have $350,000 worth of principal at Ball Mountain. I'm not sure why the assistant principal at least can't operate a little bit in that function if they're going to have an in-school suspension. It's just a question.
I think the parents should pay for it.
Yeah.
They didn't have it in my day. You went home. I know there were reasons why they have it.
Yeah, behave, don't be here.
Yeah, I know there are reasons why they have it. There's things in here also. This happened a while ago. I'm not sure why we have an attendance secretary when we have a principal secretary that used to do the attendance. They took that away and now they have an attendance secretary. So it's just a question. And the cost for the attendant secretary is $80,000 a year. I also noticed there's a lot of nepotism in this district, if nobody's familiar, there's more than I realized. And also IT, that's a big. The numbers seem to be many. I'm not saying we don't need them, because certainly we do. We couldn't even function today without a tech individual with us. So that system, that certainly needs to be out. We have one for each. We have a server, and we have, I wrote all the names down, let me find that. Another position. Hang on 1 second. An integration person. Mr. Barlow does the internet. He's not entertaining, he shouldn't, but yes, so, and then we have the techs. Why could the people that help us out every day behind the screen and those things. So it's a question that I would consider like, wow, I think we're above beyond. Maybe the director can run the server. I just have questions about those things. And then lastly, we have a courier. I did not put a number there. It's just a question. It's $22,000 a year to have a courier. Does the courier use I don't know, a Fall Mountain van, Fall Mountain gas, the whole 9 years? It's liability. It's this. Is it necessary? And that comes out to 765,000. Bottom line is 1.4. 14 positions up for consideration of removal. I just think I started to think about where we are in terms of our district. We have considerations of people that might leave, towns that might leave. I don't think that we're in a position where we want to continue to purchase vans until we know what's going on, and that's being slated. I have a lot of questions about really what's coming down the line, and also the structure of facilities management in and of itself. It needs to be changed. We can vastly reduce that cost and offer these solutions for the board to think about to the betterment of our taxpayers, because we're supposed to be doing what we are. And I just think that the time is right. The stars are aligned. We started off, in a bad 25% or 20% for our communities. Things have gotten better. I just think there's more to trim. It's not all of it. I didn't get to the athletic department. I started and I had to stop. Each sport should be line item with its cost. I'm assuming it is. I think there's some efficiencies in there. For me, everything is on the table. Do they get rid of a sport? I don't know. I know that would be a hard fight, but everything should be looked at. We have field maintenance issues and all types of things. So I put this together just for numbers for everybody just to chew on, to look at as they choose. It's just, there's a lot in here. I'm not sure if we should present this, give this to the board to look at least this.
You should absolutely give it to the board to look at it.
Yeah, it looks like you,
Done a lot of work.
yeah,
And then sitting here listening to this, yes, the numbers, what you're saying makes sense. I don't know if it's gonna make sense with respect to other things we have going on in the district, like sitting here and in this snow globe, this makes sense. In the larger snow globe, we don't know if it makes sense. But I do think that it's valuable information. At one of the last meetings that we had where we were sitting joint, we did, and I don't remember who said it, but there was, you had brought up traditional scheduling versus block scheduling, and there were questions about it. So this further, at least, starts that conversation down the road, and gives it something to go off of, instead of this like idea, like pie in the sky type of thing. Like this is something to look at and to see if it's viable. that obviously is not a discussion that belongs at this committee. But it is relevant because it has to do with the overall budget. So,
And the one thing that we gotta be, always have to be mindful of, right? Is an objective, or I believe there's an objective within the school district, particularly the high school, is to prepare kids for college. So there's certain expectations from every college, right? I hear you, I'm not a big fan of foreign language programs either, but I do know if we eliminated them, most of our kids wouldn't get into a college.
And
Right.
you can't, because it's a requirement in this, from the
Well,
state.
regardless,
to
yeah,
provide
it's
something.
just, but I think in all of this,
Yeah.
you have to be cognizant. The other thing is, on the admin side, like plumber and electrician, again, I agree with you completely. I don't think we need two licensed individuals in the school, but there's offsetting costs to these savings, because you're gonna have to budget something for contract
Exactly.
services. So
True.
there's this back and forth that goes on. Would you be able to do it with two apprentices? Probably.
Not legally.
Depends what they do.
Yeah, but even that, even if we put $10,000 per school, we're gonna become well under, if we
Yeah.
budgeted at that. But I think the cost, what I'm trying to get at is these costs need to be directed towards the communities.
Right.
I think method 6 is long overdue and has been
Oh, absolutely.
abused for, or whatever
It
term.
needs deeper dive.
It needs a deeper dive.
Right.
So this circumvents that, and all of us in all of our communities, we inherit the cost that we
Right.
should inherit. Nobody's
Right.
getting a fraction of it,
We're,
so.
like I said, on the course side, we're close to where students aren't getting what they need now. Okay, to get into colleges. We don't have the advanced placement courses. Maybe we don't have the students for it, but we don't even offer those courses in a lot of places. And that's a real problem, right? I've heard from people in my own community that saying like, wow, my kids want to go to a military academy and they can't get the courses they need out of Full Mountain. Right? So we gotta be careful. That's the only message, right? You don't go at it with a machete, you go at it with a scalpel.
Well, I don't disagree. The thing is that we can't be everything, and this might be to everybody. And I just want to be able to do it and do it right.
Yeah.
With what we have and what this community can provide. We can't provide everything. And that even goes to the career and technical. If we could, I didn't even get into the expenses. This is just
If it
positions.
was me, I'd get rid of like wood shop and all that stuff to send the kids out to the CTE centers.
That's,
I would do that hands down, right? We don't have the equipment. We're not gonna invest in the equipment. These schools have already got the millions of dollars worth of equipment they need and they've got the expertise. It's all done already, right?
and there I'll concur wholeheartedly. I don't mean to disparage. We should have.
Yeah.
Some framework of ag if it's an elective that these kids want, but sometimes we feel that those kids are funneled into a program because it's the only one we provide. We haven't changed. Maybe we get rid of that and we change it to something else. I don't know, but I do know that $52,000 of expenses is more than a math or science program, the ag program. We have tractors, we've bought trailers. Why do we have such a big infrastructure for 54 kids?
Well, that's the question. That's the administration has to ask
Yes.
what's a reasonable sized class or
Right.
for a program. I have the same issue with stipends. There's a bunch of stipends out there for 4 kids or whatever. I think those should be, you want to have them, that's fine. You need a volunteer teacher, let the teacher volunteer or the person that runs it volunteer, but you can't give a stipend for 4 kids. It's just like, it's crazy. But so.
At this point, I just wanted to say that this is just labor. Amanda, I have not, anything else on that letter you aptly put together? What are those other sections we talked about? I just see that this is my labor number.
Well, they agreed with it.
exactly.
They did.
How much was it labor? How much was the labor number?
It was 13 or 14 people reduced.
They're not necessarily.
Maybe
Right.
not these people.
Maybe not these
but
people.
they-
Right, but I think what I was looking at is the people, that's my labor number. Plus, what are the expenses that we had on that list? And those other things that we think, so. What I guess I'm trying to say is, I didn't think our number was complete, I still don't at this point. I know they're at 1.3. I'm more of a 1.75 if I was to make a motion. I think now's the time for them to look at I don't know what they did. Hopefully, you'll find out, because the facilities piece is now should be altered anyway, even if we stay together, how we go about it. Liability, no more oil, no more sharpening blades, no more lawnmowers. Let the contractor do it. We don't pay sick time. We don't have vacation time.
And
Guy
extra
comes and he goes
retirement.
away. In the New Hampshire retirement, as you know, that's now my bailiwick. Who's our senator? Who's our congressman to try help with that?
Yeah,
And
I agree.
And I'm trying to learn and figure out about health insurance. It's expensive, but there seems to be other schools, I need to do more digging for them, that have better prices than we do. Plainfield being one. I don't know how they did it. I don't know why. I just want to understand what's going on. I don't know anything about it. So,
If you want to understand the things, go find the CVAs for each of those, and
okay.
they compare their health insurance.
Yes.
It'll tell you.
Okay, because it is costly. It's very costly. It's a huge chunk for us in our district. And
What do you think I think you did a lot of great work, Chris. And, you know, we always have to have dialogue back and forth,
oh, well, that's why it's here.
professional dialogue, and courtesy and all that kind of stuff. What are people, you know, there's this idea of putting forth a warrant article to cap the growth of the school budgets. Now, it's an RSA now that you can vote to cap it at a certain rate of increase. That's something that I think next year maybe we should be looking at.
Think it would quell the general public.
Well, it would limit what could happen.
Well, just, you know,
Yeah.
talk to people on the street and
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna have to move these taxes, you know, just year after year.
Year after year, they get big and bigger, but I think this is what's been proposed by the district, I think is a good way of sending the right message, but.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I do agree with you, there's probably a lot more, if we did a line by line item review and had the time to really scrutinize it, you'd probably scrape out more out of it. But,
well, the last 4 years, Amanda, you and I, at least us four, and you being on the board, but at least us four on this committee, and Jamie, I mean, we've gotten through the process, and finally, we knew things for Fall Mountain last year, and maybe a little, but we didn't have the time. And I said, this year, that was gonna be my focus, and at least we had to look at it.
Yep.
And I think the time, if we can at least offer these, I think the time is that. How do I put it? My opinion is there is more to reduce that I don't think will be hurting the district, is my point. Yes, there's gonna be probably, we have 100 offerings, they're gonna have to reduce that to some degree. You know, yes.
I commended you on your work that you have done, and I do think that this is something that needs to go to the school board, but I do not agree that we need to push for more right now. We went to them and we said, we're gonna cut 1.5, and they came back and they cut 1.3. So my numbers were messed up in the beginning, but it's a 5% decrease, it's not an 8% decrease, it's a 5% decrease. What you're talking about is we can't attain this without a change with how the schools are, the high school is run. And so by pushing now and saying we need to cut more now, we can't effectively give them a path to do that. They've come to us and said that we can run the district with $1.3 million less than what we told you we needed. To come back now and say, okay, well, we need more. We can't do this until it goes through the board, until it goes through, you know, it's a shift. It's a complete change. What Steve is saying about the scalpel. Yes, we've worked for this for 4 years. This is what we need to do. And this is the work that should happen over the summer. to say, okay, let's go through it. That this is the work that we should be doing over the summer. Now that we have a place to start, then that's what we should do, but I don't think going to them, they heard us, right? Like, they heard what we said.
Well, I
And
mean, they technically did between the list with the 1.3 and the 200,000-ish that the school board cut in
Right.
the same meeting that we asked for the 1.5.
so,
So they technically did get to the goal line.
right,
Oh, I think
so,
they did.
and so they can't. We need to continue to look and to dig and to do this. We can't push now. If we push now, I think it's gonna be too much. I think it's gonna be too much.
The last thing we wanna do is make everyone feel that, hey, look, we did our homework, we really worked hard at it, and slap you in the face and say, yeah, it's not good enough. And,
I don't think it's a slap in the face. I mean, this would be unfortunate if that's the way they're gonna perceive it. Some of this stuff, as I had mentioned, it should have happened a long time ago. It hasn't, but I think what ultimately this is just labor, this number. It's not plugs and everything else we've
I
added.
understand what you're saying.
Quite frankly, it's around 2 million.
But
If I was to invoke all of the other stuff. But what I'm saying, what I'd like to say then is that I'm not disappointed with 1.3. These changes in staff at All Mountain doesn't impact other than a few classes, right? They're gonna have to if they stay in the block schedule, which I'm assuming they're gonna next semester anyway. But the following year, they still can stay in the block schedule if that's the way it comes out. It's not, they don't need to change to traditional. If they did, there would be an opportunity to reduce more.
But the other flip side to this, I'm not sure about the teachers, so I'll leave that out, but in the
Sure.
administration side, without knowing what the impact is to each one of these positions, I don't know what the HR assistant does today. I'm
Right.
assuming they're doing something, right? That drinking coffee all day long, right? But where does that function wind up, right?
Well, and the other thing too
So that's
is
part of the discussion,
our job is to propose a number, right? And we have always taken the route that we were going to give you a suggestion as to where that number came from. We weren't just gonna come in and redline for the sake of redlining. They don't have to listen to that. So the fact that they cut 14 positions and they didn't cut, the 14 positions that we think that they should have cut, that's not.
No,
Right, so we also can give them all of this information, but it has to go through other avenues besides just us to affect that change, I guess, is what I'm saying. So if they're related, the conversations are related, and there is value to this conversation being held here, but this is also one of those conversations that needs to happen jointly with the
Mhm.
board. And to understand, like, hey, we think that there's more savings this year, whatever, okay, this year is whatever, taken care of, or whatever you wanna say, but there's more value to have these conversations with the board to say, look, we think that we've done the digging, the board doesn't have time to do the digging, because the board has 8,000 other things that they're doing. This committee does the digging and then says, hey, this is what we have come up with, you do with this what you will. And that's, I think, where we need to go as a committee.
I agree. I'm new, so I don't really know a whole lot of what's going on with all of the backstory, but I know it's been I can see from moving here from another district that was creeping up. I can see we're creeping up, and I don't want it to creep up, because that's why we moved from the other place that we lived before, because it was getting to a point where it was like, okay, wait a minute here, this isn't worth it. Here, fortunately, we're a small community and we have the opportunity to have a voice and have a say. And I've heard people say, oh, we're close to like default, we need to be careful, we need to do this, and I think that coming to the meetings and seeing how everybody was like, okay, we need to work together, we need to all agree so like we can help the community because we don't want to confuse the voters. I feel like we did that, and like to see how even if some of the stuff stung a little, like we heard each other out and we got where we wanted to be. And now we started this dance and we should continue it so it can stay that good rapport and we can say, okay, hey, this is what we really think, instead of somebody just shutting down and not listening. It'll like stew and they'll think about it and then they might come up with another idea in a different way and still get the same goal achieved. And I think that kind of is like where we're starting to go. And if we keep, like, they answered they answered us and they cut what we asked for. And now that we have that relationship, let's keep it and let's take all this awesome information that you were able to like put together and go into the summer, like Amanda suggested, and then do it again next year. And then eventually we'll get where we want to be without ripping the Band-Aid off and causing unintended consequences to people that we don't have any idea like that it might, we might pause them and let until it's too late and then you can't take it back. I mean, that's just my piece. But I do agree with you. This is something that is viable and like, I think that we could save a lot of money. And I think that, we should look at it as a community so we can avoid like people having to put their house up for sale. Or figure out how they're gonna afford, because it's real money and it hurts.
I think it's a process. I think what we've asked administration to do and they have responded positively with, but now they have to implement those changes. And that's a lot sometimes. So I think that, I don't want to say baby steps because I don't think 1.5 million is the baby step. But I think you need to give administration time to work out how this actually plays out for students. Because at the end of the day, I'm all for cuts, but I also want to recognize that we're here for students. Does that make sense?
Well, and the frustration too is from being on the board, on the budget committee for the 4 years, and I'm not speaking for you, but, or you, or, I'm not speaking for anyone. But the frustration is that, yes, it's been a process and it's, so I can see where Chris is coming from because we've done this dance and we've danced this dance and every year it's a little bit more, but it's not really everything that we ask for, everything that we need. And then the next year it's a little bit more, but it's not necessarily where we need. I think that personally, this is as close to where we are as close as we are, right? Okay, hold on, let me think about this. Where we are now is the closest we have ever been to what we've asked for, I think. And so I understand the zeal behind wanting to rip the Band-Aid off and just be like, hey, yeah, let's take what we can get while we're here. But I don't think that that is the most effective way to do this for sustainability.
Good word. I like it. Look, I don't disagree with what anybody says. I don't, right? My whole point in this exercise was for me was that we had something that we could lean on and show. My discussion here was about labor. I didn't bring up expenses. We all know clubs, the matrix, the stipends. I don't know, I'll use the word, it just seems to be a lot. Everybody gets a stipend. And I don't totally understand all that. Having said that, I do think they've come back. When I saw 1.3, I said, well, that's good. That's good. So why can't we at least at a minimum ask, can you get closer?
Because they already did.
They did. It's not part of our final number because they cut the CTE and superintendent and that's not in the number.
That's not in the number?
No, so
they have.
when you add the cut that the school board made,
Okay,
and then what the admin's proposing for cuts, they are at or exceeding
Yeah.
the goal we set for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Is that true?
yeah,
How do you say that's true?
So can
Or
you,
is it two?
so in the meeting when we announced to the school board at one point. That the budget committee would like to cut 1.5 million, the school board. Did away with the superintendent line item in that same meeting of theirs.
Right, but then subsequent to that meeting, we got version 2. Of the budget.
Was it subsequent to, I thought it was,
It was
I don't-
on 12/18, we got version 2.
We got version 1.1C.
1C, but version, no,
I don't have version 2.
Misty sent it out to us. If you go back to those slides that we had before,
So Misty did email us on the 22nd.
right? A version 2. 12/18 budget, or not a budget, but kind of a comparison. And that's where that a 1.2 something percent reduction came in,
1.53.
1.53, right?
But that's off the original version 1, correct? And so
I don't know,
there's one,
if we can call that back up again, we can see.
So Kyle can save me.
Yeah. Well, Kyle. I only have one page with me.
Thank you.
So 20,
Yeah, go down, you had it, or it's at the bottom of this thing, I think.
so, hold on, go back up just a little bit. Keep going. So as you can see, version 2 reflects a decrease of 1.36 whatever from version 1C. So here's 1C.
Steve
1C,
did not include still include.
you're,
What was it again? Thousands.
So what was? So this is version 1C, right?
Yeah.
So it was 36,849,000, right?
so this is the one that she amended the revenues when, in terms of coming up with the tax decrease. But it also, so she went from 95 to 100, but it did, my understanding was it took out the, that 300,000, the 100,000 for the director as well as the superintendent, and I could, in version 1.
Right, so that's where the one, because it was 819,982, right?
Right, so now we're at a $500,000 decrease.
Decrease, so there's the 1.3 million. 1.3438 million. So it's already in the number, I think.
Oh, so we're double dipping.
I think so. I don't know, but if version 1C had it taken out already. Then,
so I guess that's a question. Does version 1C have the superintendent and the,
yeah, go back to the other 2 slides. We can find them. Yeah, one to this side, yeah.
This one, Steve?
Yeah, what's the bottom line there?
549.
Right, so if you look at the proposed budget, right?
yeah,
That was 34,479 against 36,849. Right,
36,849 is 1C.
is 1C, yeah. Right. So it's comparing against I think it's comparing against 1C. And if that number already has it out, then it's out already. We shouldn't add it back in on top of it. But I mean, that's a question to confirm is whether or not
Getting clarification on that.
clarification of what version of those 2 people taken out of
Well, what were the 2 positions? One was superintendent, wasn't there another? one?
CTE director.
CT, there, thank you.
Yeah.
And that was what, 100,000
Yeah,
in totality?
I don't think,
well, whatever's.
yeah, I don't know if they're
The numbers for
defendants
it.
or not.
But I think that,
From there.
So
so,
there's $100,000 taken out of method 1 between version 1C and 2.
right,
Which would not be the superintendent. Superintendent's only in method one.
Mm.
So if that was the case, there would
Then
be
it wouldn't be in-
$200,000
I agree.
less.
If that's the case, then we should see more out of there. So
But
I
the
mean,
numbers
that's,
still aren't lining up for me, so I'm not sure where that disconnect is.
I don't know. One of the things that if we recap this whole year, one of the things that I'd like to see happen is when they make a change, what did they change?
She did that really well last year,
Yeah,
and then, and I've asked for it twice this year, and I don't know why we
there's,
can't get the whole package.
yeah, because that would answer the question, right?
Right?
Couple bullets would be, would answer the questions a lot.
So the number, this is maybe not be relevant, you guys can say I'm gonna stop it. But the number that they presented at on 11/24. The operating budget they presented on the slideshow was 39,281,386. With a 3.13% increase from last year's budget. So this is a question. When they come out and say that this is our first budget, this is what we think we need, should all of those reductions then come off of that number? Like that's the starting. Is that the starting number? I'm honestly asking. I don't.
The starting number, as in, we could say, yes, you can have everything you want, and we all go home.
Right, I guess, right? I mean, that would be, because then if they say. I don't know, I mean. I don't know that impression, I don't know.
The question still remains is from version 1C to version 2, what were the changes,
Mhm.
right?
Right,
And then on top of that is, the question is, in what version did CTE director and the superintendent come out of?
Because our 1.5 is based on version 2. Right?
What 1.5?
our reduction.
Yeah.
Our,
Well,
I thought your reduction was from 1B, it's prior to 1C.
I'm gonna, my instincts go to what Alyssa just said.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, no, that was a one.
so right now, they're at $1.4 million less than 1C, right? Am I correct? I think so.
Well,
Remember. Whatever was on that other slide is the right number.
yeah. $530 plus.
Which brings us
800.
down to the, right? So it's the new. Right, it's now at 35,479, is that right? Wow, that's pretty good. I can actually see that.
Yeah, 1.46. Yeah, that's the number off of,
Yeah, right, there you go. Right? So. If the superintendent is not in there and the CTE director is not in this number yet, then that goes up by another 300,000. So that'd be at 1.6 million, six something
Right.
million dollars. Right, of a reduction. And then you're gonna add back into that whatever the CBA agreement is. Will become,
so I must have sent Jamie a message, a text during the last meeting. And she said, this is what Lori sent me. She said the 208,000 had been removed. I don't know what 208,000 is.
then there was 88 that got put back in.
Yeah,
So
so
I'm not sure what.
I,
It's a fuzzy number yet.
yeah, there was an in and an out there. So I think that,
Yeah. So that's, once we get that clarified, I think. And I'm sure the board's gonna ask that question on Monday. So.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like, at the end of the day, even with the CBA, my wildest dreams, what the CBA could be, it was still gonna come out to be a reduction of some amount.
I can share that they did approve, the teachers union did approve it, they did sign it,
Good.
so it will go to the warrant, we don't have to. Can go to arbitration or anything.
Oh, that's good news.
so our next steps. Are, we have a joint meeting on Wednesday, you guys have a meeting on Monday. We have a joint meeting with everybody on Wednesday, and at that meeting, we are going to put together or vote or come up with the number. So the budget committee has to go to that meeting with a number.
If this number holds at the board meeting, I would accept this number.
So would I.
That's my, we'll see what happens after the board meeting, but.
I don't expect it to change at the board meeting. A board meeting will be a lot, we have a lawyer coming to discuss a lot of what's going on at the state level. And then we talked about budget caps and things like that.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot going on in terms of open enrollment, those kind of things. And so we have to really look at the fact that this state is turning us into a very competitive environment. And if my personal thought, not speaking for the board or anything else, but that if we continue to cut and cut and cut, we will have a flow out of students in this district, and that is not what we're here to do. So that is my goal in this budget and in Monday's meeting with the lawyers, to find out what it is we need to do to provide the best education for the kids that are here.
So are you saying that you're getting legal advice on open enrollment and whether you're gonna put a warrant article out specifically what Fall Mountain intends to do, or however you're gonna word it? Is there any idea of how you're gonna word that?
I don't at this moment. But it's not,
This is gonna be a heavy ballot.
Yeah.
Well, that's the legal advice that a lot of school districts have been given, is that you need to put a warrant article out saying that you will or will not, like maybe you will. In French class, your capacity for open enrollment will be that you'll take 14 students, but that's the only program, so you're setting parameters. That's what I'm assuming legal will tell you you should or shouldn't do, or.
there's a whole gamut of
Right.
ways to do it. There's towns that say, we won't pay for anybody to go, but we'll take all comers.
Yeah.
Then there's every,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it's so not clear at all.
Well, there are communities like Colbrook that's gonna get traumatized if kids leave.
Well, we're
Well,
very
no.
much in the same boat.
So
Because there's
I
not a lot to
understand why
offer.
the state's doing it.
But it's worth talking about when we talk about cutting, about what it is that we still have, what we still own, what's our claim to fame. You know, why would people come here? Why do kids want to stay here? Why do families want to be here? Otherwise, we're a mobile society. Everybody leaves. And we continue to death spiral. And it's worth talking about. I appreciate all of this work. I'm very excited to talk about block scheduling, things like that, because I do believe it can be done without sacrificing programming. So
Do we even know what an ideal school looks like in today's environment?
what an ideal school looks like, it's a good question.
I don't know. I mean, if you asked me to design a school today, I wouldn't know what to do, I think, right?
I think we've gotten to a place in society where everybody expects to be a special individual. And unless we can provide that to people, we are never going to be viewed as a success.
I don't know, I just.
Not that we can't
It's
do
just,
that,
it's just a thought out of the blue, but.
well, the other implication of the open enrollment bill, though, is that you're only getting 80% of the tuition. So you have, in fact, how do you budget for that?
Yeah, that's
Right.
right, yeah. When we did a tour of Keene way back when the withdrawal thing turned up. And they're all or nothing, so that's, for me, it's out of the question. We're not gonna force everybody to go to one place or another, but. That's what their argument was. How do I know if you send me 10 kids, how many teachers do I prepare for? Or if you send me 100 kids, how do I prepare for, right? That makes a lot of sense, right? A lot of sense.
On that note, I think like traditionally, there's been a push for college. And I don't I'm seeing a pivot in where like the CTE, even though I know it's expensive and we're not gonna do the director, and that makes sense because where we are financially right now. That's a way to get people here if we offer something other schools don't have. And it prepares kids to walk out into the workforce when they graduate.
And for me, that's the optimum word right there, prepare for the workforce. And
Right then.
what I'm afraid of
It's reachable.
is school districts not having the resources to properly train CTE programs. Right, so they do something, they call it CTE, but if they don't have the right equipment or the right expertise, they're not sending the kids out into the workforce correctly.
There's a lot of businesses in our community that can't find good help. And that could be like the work program, you know, and they're already familiar. It's not intimidating, it's reachable, they're right there at it. And it might just be small and simple, but it works for our area. You know, I mean, there's a lot of really smart kids who can watch a YouTube video and take an engine apart. But you put
Absolutely.
them in a college classroom and they're
They
gonna pull
die.
their hair out, right?
Absolutely, totally agree.
My child.
Right.
Right.
And that's something we can cater to keep our community like, you know, like a good foundation here and keep people here.
I 100%
And what I think
agree.
has to happen on a state level, multi-state level, is to make the transfer of students between states and programs much more affordable for the school districts. If we were able to do that, we'd be more, I think, we'd be able to send the students to places that are already established and well prepared and so forth. But I understand the economic hurdles that have to get over with that.
I think you touch on something pretty fantastic. We do have some really big opportunities. We have a lot of small business in this area
Yeah.
who are looking for employees. And I will tell you, I have never talked to a single small business owner who wasn't willing to take on a student. And I think that speaks volumes. I think it's an untapped potential that we have here, and we need part of the program of studies not only talks about CTE, but talks about ELOs, extended learning opportunities and things like that. And we haven't even begun to tap into that. So,
I just, the advisory board that I'm on, we just listened to at the River Valley Tech Center. If a student goes through their advanced manufacturing program complete, one, they come out nationally certified in 3 different areas, but they can go to Manchester Community College and only have to take 2 courses to get a 2-year certificate
Awesome.
out of the program. $425 after high school to get a 2-year certificate in advanced manufacturing.
Now that's a return on investment. When you talk about college cost versus what you get paid after you're done.
Right. 2 classes they have to take in almost every one of the program areas. But that took a long time, school working with Manchester Community to align the courses so that when they come out, they just can keep transitioning easier. So. But that takes a lot of time and a lot of expertise and commitment. But you're right about the businesses, their advisory board now between New Hampshire and Vermont companies. I think we're up to 40 companies on their advisory board now,
over at River Valley.
right, River Valley.
Speaking of that, I just remembered I have a friend, a friend of her, actually her supervisor, she's a professor at Vermont Community College, I believe. Her supervisor's office is in River Valley Tech. And she mentioned to her, would they be interested in some sort of like collaboration if we were like to be able to send students one place or another as like a feeder, like if we have kids that would be into their, like we could somehow, somewhere in that, there's like a benefit to both parties. And she was very receptive to it because their numbers are also down for enrollment and attendance.
When you say we, do you mean Fall Mountain?
Right. Because we already send students there anyway, but that might be some conversation that would be beneficial to have to see if there's anything there that would maybe start something up to where there could be like, instead of us trying to figure out how to dig ourselves out of a hole, see that we have somebody to help us because they need something from us and we need something from them. And then maybe we do it together.
It is very difficult. I mean, I appreciate
Across
that
quarters.
across
Quarter.
school districts.
Right.
The businesses have an easier time working
That's right.
that way. But as you've seen in the budget, and I think we've talked about it, we're part of, it's called Region 13. It's each of the CTE centers in the state of New Hampshire have this is your area and nobody goes in and nobody goes out.
Okay.
Right.
And it's not really, it's good, but it's not as good as it could be. So we send our students down to Keene, the Cheshire Career Center. That's our unit. So they have great programs, they do a good job, but it's far away. So we use River Valley for only 3 options that they can't get at Cheshire. But what it costs us after reimbursement from the state is $7,500 per student plus the transportation costs. And so River Valley hasn't, in the state of Vermont, because they are considered a public school under the state of Vermont, they are not funding or helping us fund our
That's right.
education there. And so, and they haven't been open to talking about that agreement. So it's,
I can tell you at the advisory board levels, we pound on the Vermont officials constantly for that.
it's not, it hasn't,
Yeah. They don't listen to it. Yeah.
Like the college part of it, so I don't know if that would be like a different than the actual tech part of it, because she's the college part of it. If that would be better or harder, I don't
yeah, I'm
know.
not exactly sure. I know we have relationships with River Valley, in Claremont. River Valley Community College, there's too many River Valleys.
Sugar River Valley.
Sugar River is the Claremont one, no,
Right,
River
Valley
Valley
is the
Community
Springfield one.
College is in Claremont on 120.
Yeah.
So we do have a relationship with them. It's called Running Start. Kids can get right in and do the same type of thing. And there's a couple other programs, I think, in the works, but I don't think any of them are in Vermont.
Okay.
But it is the cross-border stuff is ridiculous. There shouldn't be any, especially in both states are starving for technical people.
Yeah,
You could always give offline, you could always give her name to Alyssa. as
Yeah,
well, so that
absolutely.
you could and have that warm handoff,
Okay.
I appreciate it.
but. Um,
So I'd encourage all of you guys to listen in on Monday if you're not able to be in the room, just because it is going to be good information that will inform the conversations we have together going forward.
the proposed budget number now, right, is 35,400. Is that right?
Is that for that's the general, like there's the two levels, one that
Right.
includes all of the grants and.
Not including all, just 30, so it's,
Operating line.
the operating line is 35,480,000, is that right? Ish. Cause I think it's 479,600 or something.
I think most, oh, this is the 18th.
But yeah, so 35,479,931 is the proposed budget. Going into Wednesday's meeting,
So almost 1.7 million,
depending,
the original presentation.
right, so we understand the school board still has to have a discussion. How comfortable is the board, the budget committee? Sorry, not the board, the budget committee with the 35,479,931. Because I don't, what I'm trying to gauge here is I don't want to have happen what happened last year. Where the board and the budget committee didn't agree on the number. Because that just confuses the voters and it frustrated a couple of voters who came to me and said, why can't you guys agree? It's like less than $100,000 we were squabbling over. So if that's the number that gets presented for the meeting, how does everybody feel about that number?
If you're asking me if I will vote to recommend the warrant article with that amount, no, the total amount, obviously, I would be in favor.
I would be in favor.
I mean, we're there. We're not straw polling, right?
No.
I couldn't help myself.
I
Does
think,
anybody, go ahead, Steve.
I mean, I was just saying, if you go back to the original presentation, we're down like $1.7 million from that level, so it's, you know, we overcame $1 million worth of, I think it was more, maybe a little bit more, I'm just using round numbers, but the original proposal was over $1 million increase in fixed costs that we couldn't do anything with, right? So when you look at it, compare it that way, I think they've done an amazing job. They also still want to say that the K through 8s did a really good job.
Yes, They have done a very
exceptional
good
job. They overcame the increase in health insurance and everything and still reduced their budgets, so. But I would go with this number. It's close. If it stays close to this, we'll see what comes back on Wednesday. But you're thinking that it'll go, but we'll see.
I intend to champion this number, I think.
Yeah,
that's a
it's-
happy
it's-
assumption.
Yeah, I think it had to be hard. There's no question about it. And if it wasn't, then we got a lot of other questions to ask.
No, I think you've got some pretty fantastic building administrators and.
Realizing where we
heads.
are. Yeah,
And yes, as part of the conversation, they know where there is more to be. And it's, as you
Yeah.
said, it's taking it in baby steps. So.
I would
This is
advocate
not
that
the
they
end.
look at the information that we provide them. For Monday,
Yeah.
and they take that into council,
yeah,
and then we'll see what they come back with. On the joint meeting.
Can I make one request? Here, I'm intending to give the board and the administrator.
Yep,
all
probably
of
the
these.
front piece,
I actually would not necessarily want to send this one.
right?
Yes,
Oh, no, that one I wouldn't send because it has names on it.
thank you, because a lot of these are single position, and even though you've been in public tonight, a lot of those, there's only one position in the district, and I don't think
Right.
that's right to set up.
I'm not trying to cause panic.
No, but that's the way that information has to fall out in order to come up, when you gotta find out what we're trying to do here, so.
I totally understand. I just don't want anybody to panic about their
yeah, right.
jobs.
Send the wrong message.
So any new business?
After Wednesday. We have the hearing. When is the hearing?
14th, right?
The 14th.
We get to hang out a lot in the next few weeks.
Um. Putting together the presentation for the hearing. Last year. I don't remember exactly. How that went. I think that Gabe did some of it, but then. Wasn't there a little bit of collaboration with Lori and Jamie, maybe? I don't remember how that. So we need to sit down and figure out what that looks like. Between Wednesday and the 14th.
14th.
Would you like me to? I don't know if Lori would have time to do so, but if we intend to come into Wednesday's meeting and have a lot of agreement, do you find that that would be a helpful place to discuss what maybe that framework is?
Mm.
She probably has it started.
Sure. Kyle has something.
Yeah, if I can just request that the presentation is prepped and ready with minimum edits for Wednesday morning. So that way, while we're doing setup, we have it. In the past, it's been given to us quite literally as everyone is walking into the room to start the meeting.
So you're talking on
On
the
the
day of the
14th.
budget hearing.
Yeah.
If we could have it in the morning or the night before, if there's one or two edits, make that happen, but if we could have something beforehand, it'd be helpful.
Absolutely, that's reasonable. And then obviously after that is deliberative, so we have to be ready for that.
We'll just have to put up one slide. Budget committee, school board, all in agreement.
Well, yes.
Cookies are in the hallway.
That's okay.
Cookies are in the hallway, right? There you go. That's it.
That's pretty far, if I make them happy.
That's the problem.
Food is everything. Okay,
So as far as communication with the school board, do we wanna send just this along?
No. I'm gonna send the front copy, but edit it.
Front copy and not this one at all?
Yeah, that's just,
Got it.
that was just to show the budget committee how the homework came together.
I want
think I
to,
should give.
I think that there's
info on
I
it?
think
there's a lot of value.
there's value in that.
Okay,
I think there's a lot of value.
It's gonna show.
If,
I can make
Show
PDFs
people.
of it and then send it to, who
That
should I
is-
send it to?
Alyssa.
I'll copy the budget committee as well, email it.
Yeah, I speak.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you, are kind of championing, looking at the data for block scheduling. It's been something that people have brought up on and off over my time on the board, and so I think it's time to look at it at a deeper level. So this is one more step. I know, 2 months ago or so, we started talking about it as a board. We got a presentation. There wasn't a lot of, buy-in from the administrators yet, but I think after having gone through this whole process and all of the information that you as a budget committee bring forward, they have to be seeing some of the writing on the wall. We've got to make some changes or we are gonna lose some serious programming. Like, it's gonna be really, really hard. And so, I'd appreciate if we could take a look at that, if you might even speak to it a little bit, maybe not this coming meeting, but in the near future, so
Yeah,
that we can have some deep conversations.
right, and it all, as much as it is about blocks and traditional scheduling, it really is about cost. For me, that's really what it was about. I mean, we can't do any of these numbers in a bubble, and we have to talk about whether whose class, what class, and this or that, the framework of the whole operation, but it's really, to me, it's about, I hate to use the word, but it's about being efficient and effective, I mean, effective in the classroom, I'm not sure what that means. But at least fiduciary as we're supposed to be, and can we still have the same, organization doing the same thing?
I think it's a valid point. And having that in conjunction with the school board and the administrators who look at it and say, well, we can do this and then we can offer more, and this is how it affects the education, and this is what we send our students out into the world with. It's a piece of it. It isn't the whole picture.
No, and again, you'll notice I didn't do anything with the CTE stuff because I think there needs to be more investigation in that stuff. There really does. That's why I didn't. I'm afraid of reducing the material cost in some of them, but as far as those programs, I don't know enough about them and whether they should be augmented. It needs more analysis.
I think that is, having the block scheduling conversation leads into those, what is still
right.
important enough to make, the schedule fit.
Right.
So it's all coming.
Yeah, and I know the ROTC is gonna be a bit of a struggle for people, but we can still get it but we may.
It's one of the things we do really, really well and people
Yeah,
come here for.
I'm just saying,
Always gonna
it might
say
be,
I was just gonna say that.
might be able to reduce the position. I didn't say get rid of it.
That program has scored so much good points for the school district.
Absolutely.
At the same point with the points, I'm gonna have to fall back with the taxpayers most every single time. Because whether we like it or not, or you and I like it or not, Charlestown's in a bit of a pickle. And we put ourselves there from our forefathers and everybody else. So at least if there's something in the school, I'm gonna probably, I like
get you.
kids, I have a son in the program.
I get you.
Okay.
I'm sitting here with the same attitude that,
It's just,
you
we on this committee have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers,
it.
and that's where I'm taking it.
You got it.
alright,
So
I think we covered it all.
I move to adjourn at 7:37 PM.
Second.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.